Each quarter tells a story, from Wall Street heavyweights to emerging disruptors. We break down the numbers, the reactions, and the moves that matter most. Real data, real insights, in real time. This is Earnings Central Live with Verified Investing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Earnings Central Live. Today is one of the biggest days of the year for the Earnings Central Live crew. So if you're in the chat, come say hello. While you're here, please consider liking and subscribing. Follow us on all of our social media. It really helps the algorithm. Comment, I love this show, or Lawton, you're sick. All right, thank you so much, Jolly Rancher Robert. Thank you for all of you guys being here. So we have a jam-packed show. At 4 o'clock, Microsoft reports earnings. At 4:05, Tesla, Meta, Lam Research reports earnings. And then at 4:10, IBM and ServiceNow report earnings. So we're getting into the swing of earnings season. So please, can my team throw up Microsoft, because that's what comes out first in just about 4 minutes. On Microsoft, we're expecting an increase in EPS. Thank you so much, Christoph. About 19 to 20% year over year. Manu says, consider raising your voice. I don't know about that. For revenue, we're expecting an increase up 15% year over year to $80 billion. All right, so let's throw up my charts and I'll give you my levels of support and resistance on Microsoft. So to my charts, first level of resistance, there's a gap fill from the 31st Halloween of October. And that level is 517. If my team could go ahead and throw those levels on the bottom of the slider, turn that on, Microsoft, please. The secondary level of resistance on Microsoft is going to be at $525. The tertiary level, conservative level, there's a gap fill all the way from what I believe are earnings yet. That's right, from its last earnings, about $541.50. Third, more conservative level to trade the stock for a short. For support, the first level I'm targeting is this pivot low. Aggressive traders only about $438.50, followed by that pivot, that gap fill over here from the 7th of May around 433, and then an additional gap fill from 1, 2, 3 earnings ago around $525. Hello, Sky. Hello, everybody. Yep, we'll get through IBM, but IBM reports at 4:10. But Microsoft reports in just about 2 minutes, okay? We're going to come back to Microsoft and give you these a couple more levels if I can do so quickly. Can we throw Tesla on the board? So for Tesla, guys, we are expecting down significant earnings per share and a down revenue. Back to my charts, please. But the question is, will we be able to see good guidance, right, with this robotaxi and all this news? For resistance on Tesla, first level of resistance, and this is at 405, is going to be $458. Nice pivot high there. Additional level is gap window around 470. And then final tertiary level of resistance up there at the gap fill around 475 from late last year. For support, 406. I like this pivot low around 406.40 region, followed by 391. There's a gap fill there. If it continues lower, you can consider an entry at this pivot low on that same daily candle around 383. All right, but that comes out at 405. We can come back to me, please. But on Microsoft, guys, we're going to respond and react to this in real time and see how Microsoft earnings react. If we could throw back Microsoft on the bottom, good job. It's already there, I believe. But we're going to react to this. Make sure that if you're at home trading alongside me, to use smaller positions. And if you want to trade after hours, you make sure that every order that you put in is in extended trading hours, or else your orders aren't going to go through. We have about 8 seconds left, and you're going to see some big movement behind me. We'll react to this together. Let's see if we can't get a trade. So far, nothing, but we're expecting some fireworks, hopefully, on Microsoft. And it's okay if Microsoft doesn't do anything. We have Tesla, Meta, Lam Research, IBM, and ServiceNow as well. I'm going to give Microsoft about a minute or so before I start covering the other levels, because those literally come out in about 5 minutes. So let's see if Microsoft does anything. And I'm going to need your help in the chat, okay? If I switch on to another chart, if I'm on Tesla or Meta or IBM or something, well, Microsoft's starting to fall and Microsoft moves or a different stock moves, you have to let me know so I can switch to it. So initial fall on Microsoft here, about a 3% drop. Okay, nice fall there, but the first move isn't always necessarily the correct move, okay? So coming down now, 438.50 is that first level of support for the aggressive traders out there. And we've seen this in the past couple Earnings Central Lives. A stock initially falls off of news, and then, you know, after they dig into the numbers a little bit more, we see a reversal and a move higher. And the stock that once started off negative and was actually down about 3% actually goes green. So let's take a look and see if Microsoft can't move. If Microsoft can continue to flush to that 438 region, we will look to potentially, for you aggressive traders, get in there. If you're a little more conservative, there's still that 433 and 425.25 region. Okay, I'm going to start covering some of these other levels, but I need your help, guys. If Microsoft continues lower, let me know and I'll switch back to it, okay? So on Meta, and it looks like Meta's starting to move a little bit here. Meta, my levels, if we can throw my Meta levels on the bottom, 613 is the first level of support. 594 looks like it reported early. 594 is the secondary level of support. For resistance on Meta, 731 and then 751.50 for resistance on Meta. Okay, and we'll react to these as they come out. Microsoft continuing lower, remember 438.50, and Meta is going to be 613. I see that, guys. I see that, guys. All right, one more. I'm going to try and get this out as quick as I can. LRCX, my levels of support and resistance, if we can throw those on the bottom. 260 for support, for resistance, and then 275. 260, then 275 so for resistance. 233 for support, and then 208.50. Back down to Microsoft getting in potentially to that first aggressive level for you guys. Remember, 438.50 is that first aggressive level on Microsoft. See if it can continue lower. We should have 2 minutes more until some of these earnings, the other earnings, come out. But sometimes stocks may report early. Let's see. Microsoft gets one more flush here, guys. You are likely to see a pop. That's where I would enter if I was an aggressive trader at home. Make sure to manage your position size, guys, because these things can move significantly. These things are whippy. Meta continuing lower. I wonder if those earnings are out. Meta currently down about 4%. Good fall so far. Same thing with Microsoft. Microsoft currently down about 7%. But we need this continue to go lower. QQ is going to be walloped? Yeah, potentially here. So if you guys need any more of my levels, please let me know. I'd be happy to repeat them. But let's see if this 438.50 level comes to fruition. About a minute left until some of these other stocks report earnings. And this is the craziness of earnings, right? I'm just one person trying to keep track of all of these charts. But I mean, if Microsoft starts tanking, then Tesla, then Meta goes, and then LRCX, I'll be all over the place. And that would be certainly a sight to see. So Microsoft looks like it got as low as 442, still like that 438.50 level, but we'll see if it can get down there or it begins to reverse. Had a decent bounce so far, about a 1.6% bounce. But we do have these earnings, next set of earnings in about 20 seconds. So I'm going to take a quick hydration break. All right, 10 seconds, guys. Now, keep an eye on Microsoft, but we're going to watch Tesla, Meta, and LRCX because those are coming out in 1 minute. And in all likelihood, Microsoft could be moved by some of these other earnings. Yep, stay hydrated out there. I agree, verified investing. I agree. So let's see. So far, not a lot of movement on some of these other stocks. Back to Meta, not doing a whole lot. Tesla, a little bit downward move. Let's see if it continues to fall. So far, quiet. Now, this is massive, right? Because we have 3 of the Mag 7, 3 of the 7 largest stocks in the entire stock market by market cap reporting earnings today. So this could have significant impact on the rest of the stock market into tomorrow. And Meta staying flat, Tesla staying slightly negative, yeah, down 0.1%, 0.6%, not a whole lot there, but this Microsoft, right? And what we could be putting in here, guys, is a bear flag saying that, hey, we're going to consolidate here and then look for another move lower. But into these other stocks, really nothing so far. Earnings are supposed to be coming out already, but so far, kind of sleepy. Does the Mag 7 earnings affect the SMH? SMH tracks semiconductors. Considering NVIDIA is one of the semiconductors, yes, it does. Absolutely. All right, Tesla starting to perk up a little, has kind of reversed. Remember that level 458 is that first level of resistance. Meta also flipping, going green after an initial sell-off, and LRCX actually heading negative. Microsoft shrinking, not quite. Pushing up a little bit here, a little bit more here. Never hit that first attackable level. Good push up by Tesla. Remember, we need to get to 458 before we even consider entering as an aggressive trader. As far as Meta is concerned, 731 is that first tradable level, aggressive level. And the reality is, guys, nothing, like sometimes things just don't move. We have the next set of earnings in about 3 minutes. Believe it or not, we have IBM and ServiceNow coming out in about 3 minutes. And I got to go over those charts in a bit. Wow, look, Tesla continuing to push higher. Yeah, I believe, DM. If we push up to that 458 region, that's the first shortable level for me, guys. And Tesla, decent move up 3% off of what's probably good earnings, right? As you guys saw in my earnings preview, is expected to be awful, their earnings per share, as well as their revenue, but looks like they might have beat expectations here or had good guidance, right? So about 458 is that first level. Now starting to drop a little bit, guys, just a little bit. All right, guys. Yep, my team will throw up the now resistance and support. Now resistance and support for support on ServiceNow are going to be 113 and resistance is going to be at 145. Back to Tesla and Microsoft, not quite hitting any tradable levels. Next one is IBM. IBM starting to move already a little bit. 320 is my first shortable level, followed by basically 325. For support, it's going to be 270, 250, and 263. All right, I can repeat those if you need, but a lot is happening right now. Again, ServiceNow for me, 145 is resistance, 113 is support. On IBM, 320 is support, then 325 is resistance rather, and support is 270, 250, and then 263, 37. All right, so far Tesla tried to push up, but hasn't hit there yet. Yeah, thanks so much, Blindside. Appreciate you tuning into the Crypto Combat Show. All right, IBM initially moved a little higher, should be out in about a minute though, right? Moved up about 4.5% and pulled back. Not a whole lot there yet. Let's check on Microsoft. Look at this beautiful bounce here on Microsoft. Thank you, team, for putting that up for my IBM levels. But Microsoft having a good bounce there. Tesla also not quite getting to that level, up a little bit, but not quite to that 458 region where I'd consider entering for an aggressive trade. Right? Some questions that I get are like, oh, once you see it move, why don't you just get in? Because that's risky. You're already fighting the trend. Right? And essentially what we're doing is trying to find levels of support or resistance and find out, okay, it's going in this direction. Where is this going to reverse? As Lam Research is doing absolutely nothing, right? But I'd rather have my levels preset instead of forcing an entry. Meta now green. Yeah, I saw that crazy reversal there on Meta. Looks like any second now, IBM. Okay, NOW pushing up. Remember, 145 is that first level of resistance. About $5 away, another push up, and those aggressive traders will get in there. I only have one level for ServiceNow, just because we had so many other stocks to talk about. But 145 is that first shortable level on NOW, as it looks to be pulling back a little bit now. Back to LRCX, not much there. Meta heading up, 731 is that shortable level. And Tesla looks to potentially be bull flagging and may even head higher. Yeah, this market is absolutely crazy. I believe. I agree. Let's see. ServiceNow, if it can get up to that 145 level, I would consider an entry there. But look at this pullback. Wow, got as high as 140 and then had a beautiful about 5% pullback there. Well, and Meta continuing to grind up, now going green up 4% after initially selling off. No pullbacks yet. Microsoft also reversing, still down, and Tesla safely up. And it looks like somebody in IBM may have had some inside information, unless they reported earnings a little bit early, 2 minutes early. Because that first level of resistance isn't until 320, and it pushed up, then pulled back before it even released earnings. We're going to be live for another 4 minutes. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that the markets are selling off a little bit, right? Considering Microsoft is negative, but it's perking up a little, and Meta's actually even green. ServiceNow popped and then pulled back nicely. All right, IBM is getting close around that 320 level, is that first aggressive level, but let's see if it can get there. Right, we want to make sure, guys, that there's enough volatility to trade, right? Because the last thing you want to happen, as I'm getting an alert here on SanDisk, which is probably ripping, last thing we want to happen is enter a trade and then lose volatility. The further away, and I keep saying this, the further away you guys we get from those earnings release, the less volatility is gonna be there. Earnings come out, okay, all the volume floods in, people buy, or short, sell, whatever they do. But after 5 to 10 minutes, volatility's kind of gone, right? And Microsoft continuing to perk up a little, still down about 5%, decent down move. But LRCX really not doing anything. See if IBM can get up there. Wow, ServiceNow actually reversing, actually going negative. Wow, while initially pushing up, getting closer, guys. $5 more for that first aggressive level into IBM at that 320 region. We need about a little more of a push before the aggressive traders. And I'd love, as much as I'd love to get a trade, guys, if there's no volatility, if the levels don't hit, that's okay too. Because it is better to miss a trade than get into a trade you wish you had missed. So let's see if IBM can't push up one more bit as NLW starts to fall. And the interesting thing about these levels, guys, is you can keep them, screenshot them, watch this back, and write them down. Like, a lot of times I'll go back and look at these levels and said, man, these levels didn't hit. But I'll look, tomorrow morning or later tonight and be like, those levels actually hit. And we saw a significant bounce from those levels. They just didn't hit immediately, right? And some of these levels are amazing, potentially for day trades tomorrow. For all of you day traders out there. Like if Meta pushed to 751 tomorrow, would I short it? Absolutely. If Tesla pushed up to 475, would I short it? Yeah. And if Microsoft continued lower and got to like 433, would I day trade it tomorrow? Absolutely. So what you're getting from me aren't just my earnings levels. They are my earnings levels, but these are the levels I consider buying or shorting for potential swing and day trades. But ServiceNow, absolutely great reversal. I'm going to give IBM about 30, 40 more seconds before I call it, right? Drew has a show coming on, and I just want to make sure that I'm off before he can get there. $1 billion bounce on Microsoft. Yeah, it's insane. This bounce on Microsoft got pretty close to our levels. I was a little more conservative here, but amazing 4.5%, which is basically $1 billion. Looks like IBM's getting closer to that 320 region, but not quite able to get there as ServiceNow continues to fall a little bit lower. But seeing as IBM isn't really hitting there, I think I got to close off my show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. My name is Lawton here with Verified Investing. Please consider liking, subscribing this video. Please consider following me on Twitter at Lawton Investing. All of your socials, wherever you get to. And if these levels hit on IBM, I still think it's a good potential short. Earnings at Microsoft is already out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go ahead and tune in to Trading the Close in about 4 or 5 minutes with Drew Dosick. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.